So everyone knows I'm hoping about George Floyd, and first off, you can check out Political Report number 4, which we released. It's Dan.
Yeah,
myself.
bonus episode in the Audioface feed.
Yeah,
we made a podcast. Joins us.
Yes,
these go super hard.
And yeah, we talk a lot about police brutality, the whole George Floyd stuff, and a bunch of things into it. And this actually gives a couple perspectives in it. So I think everybody here, if you listen to this podcast, please go and listen to Political Report. It's very important. This one's extremely important.
Yes.
Anyways, so Billie Eilish goes off, onto a proper Instagram rage and says, if I hear one more white person say all lives matter, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. One part, it's a pretty long thing. It's like pretty like true to heart. It's not very edited, but it's very raw. There's one part that I think is really straightforward that says, if someone's house was on fire and someone's stuck in the house, are you going to make the fire department go to every other house on the block first because all houses matter? It's kind of the point. Is that you're not saying that all lives don't matter. It's just that that there's a specific melanin-based correlation with the number of people who are being harassed by the police. And it's happening across a lot of races now. With the protests that have been happening lately, even like white women are being like pushed aside by the cops. It's kind of insane. But it goes to the larger aspects that we do talk a little bit about in Political Report 4, where the police force in America and a lot of the way around the world in response to the global war on terror started by the W. Bush administration has made the police
to stop the terror.
Now watch this drive. But like this stuff's been going on since the Bush administration, and we are just kind of now seeing the ramifications. It wasn't fully set up back when we had like Occupy. People were still kind of figuring it out, but no, now we're seeing the over-militarization of the police as it's happening.
Especially after 9/11, that's when holy hell, it got major bad.
Other musicians who talked, Niall Horan, was kind of responding to Donald Trump's tweet where he said that there are thugs in Minneapolis who are looting, who are doing a disgrace to George Floyd's name. And he said that he's sending the National Guard, and if the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Yes.
Trump's not a racist, but he did spend the rest of the day talking about planning on sending dogs on the protesters and fire hoses. I'm like not kidding.
When did he really say that?
He mentioned like the dogs are on the way.
You know, he did grow up in that era, so I'm not surprised.
Release the hounds. Okay, but yeah, Niall Horan says, thugs, ? These are people protesting against the fact that one of your animalistic white policemen kneeled on George's windpipe and forced him to stop breathing to kill him. Thugs, are you listening to himself? Yeah, One Direction stans grew up to be socialists, according to Jamie Guest on Twitter.
And then T-Swizzle, Taylor Swift, she said, she tweeted, after stoking the fires of white supremacy and racism your entire presidency, you have the nerve to feign moral superiority before threatening violence. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. We will vote you out in November at Donald Trump, at real Donald Trump.
You know, this is like a 2016-2020 meme, because 2016 Taylor Swift was very much like, politics is kind of bad and it's messy, and you know, I'm on the Hillary side, but like vaguely, but like, oh my God, it's kind of
now
messy.
she's like,
so now it's like we're done. Which is honestly like a good thing. So like usually a lot of these stories we
criticize a lot because usually they say nothing of substance is the biggest. They're like with Lanado, right? A few years ago, nothing of substance. We had because the whole like when Trump won the presidency, and especially in 2017, so much music came out and it had nothing of substance of saying what like you could do. So now I think more artists are coming into it where they actually have either ideas or they're now saying, you know what, fuck this shit. It's too much stuff is going on, especially like, in this country.
Yeah, so. Enough with the peacefully waiting for things to change.
Yes.
Noname, meanwhile, always being like 3 steps ahead on the Wokometer,
love Noname.
Is blasting top-selling rappers who have been staying silent on George Floyd's murder. Now, a lot of artists have had like social media posts. I've seen a lot of artists even on the streets. Vince Staples, J. Cole. A lot of folks have actually been getting out there to protest with people. And a lot of other rappers, which we'll get to in a moment. But there are a lot of major rappers who, like... One of Noname's criticisms was saying that there are people whose whole discography is about police brutality, is about this stuff, and they're not out there yet. It's happening all on the weekend. Even Travis Scott tweeted out a Nike ad that was nothing except a swoosh at the end, but it was basically like silence is siding with the oppressors type shit. It's like pretty like dystopian, but in a fighting with the proletariat kind of way for a Nike ad. But like pretty much, it's even becoming like the corporate woke side of things to say like focus on the protest.
Take the money.
Yeah, even Netflix was like, sorry, we're we're not saying, we're just saying. It's kind of
exactly.
wild. Speaking of major celebrities who are kind of not in it.
Where's Jay-Z at?
The fuck is Jay-Z?
Where's he at? No, you go.
Yeah, but yeah, Roger Goodell released a statement. The head of the NFL, on behalf, also noting that Ahmaud Arbery, who was shot in February, and that case went viral. Again, go to Political Report if you don't know about that. Viral. Is also a cousin of Tracy Walker of the Detroit Lions, so it's like part of the NFL, of course. Because it turns out that in the sport where they call the manager of the team owners, most of the players are black. Interesting how that works. So the reason there's a lot of criticism with Jay-Z is because Jay-Z made this big initiative. If he's joining the NFL, he's going to be their like entertainment correspondent. He's going to like produce these big events. He's going to make sure that people of color and black people's issues are on the forefront. And this is the NFL's time to shine right now. I mean, this is everything the Kaepernick stuff was about. And this is just a very like lukewarm statement. Like Adidas and Nike are making stronger statements about what's going on and the need for this to kind of stop and change.
Even Bundesliga, one of the Gladbach players scored a goal today and he knelt down on the pitch.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Marcus Thuram, freedom fighter.
Solidarity here is
out in
motivating to see.
Yes, love it.
Meanwhile, Tommy Lauren wants some of the smoke because, not really. This is she didn't call anyone out, but Tommy Lauren tweeted that how does looting, rioting, and destroying one's own community bring justice for anyone? Which is a question that people have been asking, and we'll address it in a moment, I promise. But Cardi B's response was pretty fire. Said, how does targeting, profiling, and beating, murdering black men with no consequence equal serving and protecting? Who gives them justice and trust on cops? Mind your business and eat your salad.
Fuck, I love Cardi B so much. Oh, man. I mean, that's everything.
It's kind of getting to the point at people focusing on the sometimes senseless response and saying, wow, this response is so senseless, while other people are like, what has happened so far is so senseless. The fact that it's still going on is so senseless. The fact that it got to this point is so senseless. So like, this is just a boiling point. People are gonna get angry.
That's one thing I brought up to a couple of people who asked me my opinions on it, and I go, well, if you look throughout history, stuff has gone on when the people are unhappy. Look at the Bolshevik Revolution. That's a prime example.
Yeah, the one thing that the proletariat has against the ruling class is numbers.
Exactly.
That's really it.
Exactly.
That power is in the fact that they concentrate that power over so few people, but like numbers, we have them. Hashtag no politics. There's a political report for that, so I have even less of an excuse. But like we are knee deep in it right now. So Killer Mike is also kind of giving this impassioned plea, especially in Atlanta, which is a heavily black population, a lot of black-owned businesses, a lot of black wealth is centered there.
I mean, how many rappers out of Atlanta?
Yeah.
And some of the best rappers are there. So.
And a lot of those rappers have businesses. Like Killer Mike has his businesses of barbershops that are in the Atlanta area and stuff like that. So they really give back to the community there. And so Killer Mike, along with the mayor of Atlanta and a couple of other people, were giving a address. And Killer Mike was in tears, and he was just like, I'm sick of talking about black people who are dying at the hands of police. I don't want to be up here saying this because I don't have anything to say. It was really emotional.
Like, it made me sad to see him up there talking like that.
It's hard to see. And like, he's wearing, like, he is both, because like Killer Mike has this very like almost anarchist, go against the law, fuck everything, burn everything kind of spirit. He's asking people not to protest and loot things because it's looting their community, making the point that it's a largely black community.
Yeah, and, exactly.
Like maybe they're the large corporations that perpetuate a lot of these things. There's like the case for Walmart and their role in the military-industrial complex.
Exactly.
But like There's the juxtaposition of Killer Mike saying, "Hey, please don't loot," while he's wearing his trademark "Kill Your Master" shirt. And so, like, I think he's even referenced this on Instagram. Like, I'm not gonna say much. Killer Mike saying, Killer Mike, you know, he doesn't say this much. I'm not gonna say much more on this topic, but look at the shirt I was wearing. Like, that's my stance on it. And the music speaks for itself. Speaking of the music speaking for itself, Run the Jewels 4 is coming out next week. LP announced that it's gonna be free for everyone. Partially because of the protests that are going on, because Run the Jewels is very much in the DNA, like protest music, anti-establishment music. Also because every other previous Run the Jewels album has been free, I think. Really? Maybe not the third one, but definitely the first two were. That was kind of the idea.
I knew the first one was, but I didn't know about the other ones. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not that big of a thing, but should be pretty good. It's coming out next week, and if you want the history of Run the Jewels, I did a bonus episode with Tammy that is just a little bit before Political Report, so go to your favorite podcast app, look a little bit back. And it was recorded a month ago, but it's still very relevant in the stuff we're talking about with Killer Mike and LP's lyrics and Run the Jewels. It should be very interesting to look forward to. So make sure you subscribe to Audioface so you get all of this stuff. Now we get to the flubs before we'll have Lady Gaga in just a moment, but we'll get to a couple flubs that happened here. Lil Wayne is speaking out on George Floyd's death, saying that if we want to place the blame on anybody, it should be ourselves, speaking to Black people, saying that we have to stop placing the blame on the whole force and the whole of everybody in a certain race or everybody with a badge. And that's, again, like, not the point. It's like we've leveled up past these talking points that existed 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not to say that you can't generalize over an entire community. And in fact, I think that's a lot of what the left says that the right picks them at, is that, like, the left gets mad when people are overgeneralized or assume they're one thing, and the right tends to overgeneralize about people and things for political gain. But you're not saying that, like, every single person is bad. There are viral videos of white cops and black cops who are talking about this and saying how it hurts them and how they joined the police force because they saw these issues and they wanted to change it. It's what people have to get their mind around is these aren't individual people's issues. These are individual people's issues. There's individual people at the end of the day who exercise this power. But the reason it continues happening is because of the system itself.
And no one changes it.
Yes, and until that system changes, the entire thing is rotten, because no working system kills this many people. It just defeats the purpose.
Exactly.
And Lil Wayne has this sympathetic thing. I would go much more hard on him, but he has that story of, he's talked about this many times before, where an off-duty officer basically saved his life when he shot himself, and he really holds on to that moment because he was 12 and it's like a really pivotal thing for him. So I understand him in that moment. And there are, again, like, it's not systemically bad. The weirdest, worst, best thing I saw from the protests that have been happening over the weekend was someone else being arrested and two cops arresting this one guy. And one of them had their knee on the guy's neck again, which is ridiculous. The officers were, the bystanders, I think this was in New York, were yelling at the officers not to do it. And the other officer who's there just pushes the officer's knee off of him. So it's just like, yeah, there's a couple good guys. They're there, it's nice, but this keeps happening because of the systemic issue, and no one agent in the system is going to change that. So that's the point with Lil Wayne. And now, this is just an Audioface one.
Yes, because what the original No Little Bitch Award was for, we nominated to win Butler, but he didn't win it, right? It was Ed Sheeran who won it.
I think it was the other way around.
It was all the way around. It was a win Butler.
We invented it for Ed Sheeran because he quit Twitter as a white male because he was getting trolled for singing in Game of Thrones, where the actors of this extremely popular show were fans of him. Exactly. So it's like the ultimate like crybaby moment online. That's why I invented the award. Yes. But we've since given it to Offset, to Win Butler from Arcade Fire, to DJ Khaled most recently, which is why it's currently the DJ Khaled No Little Bitch Award. But
one Matty Healy, my man, he qualifies for it because he left Twitter after taking heat for a George Floyd tweet. But we'll get into it.
Yes.
So I know it's not like how Win Butler and Ed Sheeran left Twitter because they were like, oh, my ego's hurt and everything, because their cases were so, like, their things were so small, they quit for the reasons that were just pathetic.
They basically just quit for criticism, and like it was like fairly warranted. I mean, with Ed Sheeran, not really, but my point
for sure.
My point with Ed Sheeran was that like you have to be a bigger person than that, and realize that like you are a bigger person than that. With Win Butler, it's like you did something, people critiqued you lightly for it. They're not like coming to your house
Everything Now thing, and and how it fell flat, and he just like left because he didn't.
It's like us music reviewers like talking shit on him, but like people going out online. And obviously there's a point where it becomes harassment. But again, you have to realize who are the celebrities living in sizable houses who can mostly be left alone if they want to. Versus who are the people who are just randoms on Twitter.
Exactly. So Matty first tweeted, I really fucking hate racists, and right when it happened. And then because the main thing that he got heat for is he sent out a thing where it said, if you truly believe that all lives matter, you need to stop facilitating the end of black ones. And then he puts at the end of it their song Love If You Made It, which was in 2018 won our best song of the year award. Because in the song, if you listen to it, it says, sell a melanin, suffocate the black men. Start with misdemeanors and we'll make a business out of them, which is one of the wokest lyrics I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, it's talking about the prison industrial complex in a pop song.
And it's just like, ever since that song, I'm like, this is ridiculous. So, but he got a lot of backlash for it because a lot of people in the fandom and other people who don't know the song were saying, you're just trying to promote your new album. And I'm like, that's not a song on Notes.
Yeah, it's not a song on the new album.
2 years ago saying, this is a song that literally has that, and that's about, if you see the music video for it, it literally has racial hate crimes in the music video itself. So it's trying to go, we haven't changed even from just 2 years ago. But then he deleted the tweet, said sorry, and then redid the tweet and posted the music video and got even more backlash for it. Right. And then after that, then he deactivated his account for the time being because I think he didn't want to hear it with people. Yeah.
So he said sorry, I did not link my song in that tweet to make it about me. It's just that the song is literally about the disgusting situation. It speaks more eloquently than I can on Twitter.
And it does.
In another tweet, he noted that including the video was tasteless. So here's the thing. Matty Healy's clearly not the bad guy. That means why we're giving him the noted little bitch nomination in like, he checked the boxes of being a white man.
But he's not Drake or DJ Khaled or Offset.
He has the history of being very outspoken, sometimes in his own head, but very outspoken about these things. He shows remorse about it. I would say, because a lot of people have been asking, hey, like, how can they be like good allies in this situation? I'll list them out very quickly. A is if you want to actually get out there on the streets and protect people of color who are gonna be targets of police violence, and the police are wilding out right now. If that's something you're willing to do that. Secondly, donate to any freedom funds or strike funds that are paying for the legal fees of people who get wrongfully arrested for using their First Amendment rights. Point 3, talk to anyone in your life who is still like not on board or not understanding with these things, because it's enough for people of color to be telling these things, but for other people and their allies and their communities to speak out on these issues, it actually makes the difference. And fourth, and most importantly, where it gets to Matty Healy and where he can improve, is to instead, like maybe Billie Eilish and Niall Horan and Taylor Swift even expressed their opinions and their anger about it, and they did it in a way that felt like raw and honest and real. But ultimately, they're kind of listening to what Black people are saying first and kind of taking that and kind of going there. It's listening to the pain and the emotions of the people who are most affected and the most afflicted first before you insert yourself too much into the story. Again, like Matty Healy walked a line here, so I'm not like upset for it. But I'm sorry you ticked the boxes. We have rules on this podcast. We have rules,
so you have to nominate it, but he won't win. So
because the only way he would win is if there's no one else.
If there's no one else,
award, and that's not possible. That's not this podcast.
It's not possible.
That's not this podcast.
I would nominate Lana Del Rey before him. Holy
I will
shit.
go to Music Business Worldwide before we.
Oh no, Music Business Worldwide.
I will find
scraping the barrel.
I will find some random like assistant marketing officer at some streaming platform and give them an award. Like I don't care.